Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to today's episode. We've got a lot to unpack in the crypto world, with some significant market movements and intriguing developments to explore.
That's right. Our top story today revolves around HyperLiquid, which has seen a record $60 million in USDC flee the platform. This comes as North Korea is reportedly probing the perpetual's exchange, possibly testing for weaknesses.
Let's dive deeper into that. According to reports, addresses linked to North Korean hackers have accumulated losses exceeding $700,000 while trading on the platform. This has raised some eyebrows as it's unclear what their ultimate goal might be.
Exactly. It's possible that these hackers are trying to identify vulnerabilities in HyperLiquid's system, potentially to exploit them later. The fact that they're willing to take on such significant losses suggests that their intentions might not be purely financial.
Now, in terms of the market impact, this record outflow of USDC from HyperLiquid is certainly noteworthy. It could be a sign that investors are getting nervous about the platform's security, or perhaps they're simply taking a cautious approach given the uncertainties surrounding North Korea's involvement.
That's a good point. We've seen time and time again how geopolitical tensions can affect the crypto markets. If North Korea is indeed probing HyperLiquid, it could have broader implications for the entire industry.
We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it develops. It's also worth noting that this incident highlights the ongoing issue of security in the crypto space. As the industry continues to grow and mature, we can expect to see more sophisticated attacks and probing attempts like this.
Absolutely. And it's not just exchanges that need to be vigilant. Investors and traders also need to be aware of the risks involved. We'll be exploring this theme in more depth later in the episode, including some expert insights on how to protect yourself from potential security threats.
So in addition to the HyperLiquid story, we'll also be discussing some other major market movers, including a few notable price swings in the top cryptocurrencies. It's shaping up to be an interesting day in the crypto world, and we're here to guide you through it all.
So let's take a closer look at some of those price movements and see if we can identify any patterns or trends that might be emerging.
I think our previous discussion about Bitcoin's price movements really set the stage for what's been happening in the market lately. Building on what we discussed earlier, it seems Bitcoin's biggest loss since August has some investors on edge.
That's right, and it's not just investors who are concerned. Market experts like Dragosch, director and head of research Europe at Bitwise, are warning that there may be more pain ahead for Bitcoin.
Dragosch was quoted as saying that the Fed is stuck between a rock and a hard place, which could lead to further losses in the coming weeks. This is particularly concerning given the current economic climate.
Yes, and it's not just the Fed's position that's causing concern. The ongoing supply deficit of Bitcoin could also contribute to extended price dips. However, as Dragosch points out, these dips could also present buying opportunities for investors.
That's an interesting point. The idea of buying the dip is a popular strategy among investors, but it requires a certain level of confidence in the market. Do you think investors are ready to take on that risk?
Well, it's hard to say for certain, but it's worth noting that Bitcoin's supply deficit has been an ongoing issue. As we've discussed previously, the limited supply of Bitcoin can contribute to price volatility, but it also means that there's a built-in level of demand.
That's true, and it's also worth noting that Bitcoin's price movements often set the tone for the rest of the crypto market. If Bitcoin does experience further losses, it could have a ripple effect on other cryptocurrencies.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important for investors to stay informed and adapt to changing market conditions. Speaking of which, we've been seeing some interesting developments in the world of altcoins. Perhaps we can discuss some of those in our next segment?
Sounds like a plan. I think our listeners would love to hear more about what's happening in the altcoin space, especially in light of Bitcoin's recent price movements. Let's dive into that next.
That wraps up our discussion on the regulatory hurdles facing the DeFi industry. As we touched on earlier, regulatory clarity is essential for the growth and adoption of cryptocurrencies. And it seems like the incoming Trump administration is taking steps in the right direction.
That's right. We just got word that President-elect Donald Trump has appointed Stephen Miran as the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors. What's interesting about this appointment is that Miran is a well-known crypto advocate.
Building on what we discussed earlier about regulatory clarity, having someone like Miran in this role could be a huge win for the crypto industry. As the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, Miran will be tasked with providing the president with advice on economic issues, which could potentially include crypto policies.
Exactly, and it's worth noting that this isn't Miran's first stint in the Trump administration. He served in the Treasury Department during Trump's first term, so he's already familiar with the inner workings of the administration.
That's a great point. Having someone with Miran's experience and crypto background in this role could help shape the administration's stance on cryptocurrencies. And it's not just Miran's appointment that's significant. It's part of a larger trend of the Trump administration appointing crypto-friendly officials to key roles.
Speaking of which, do you think this appointment could signal a shift in the administration's approach to crypto regulation? We've seen a lot of uncertainty and mixed signals from regulators in the past, but with Miran at the helm, maybe we'll start to see some more clarity.
It's definitely possible. Miran has been a vocal advocate for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, so it's likely that he'll bring a more favorable view of crypto to the Council of Economic Advisors. And who knows, maybe we'll even see some more concrete policies or guidelines come out of the administration in the near future.
That would be a huge development for the industry. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on this story and seeing how it plays out in the coming weeks. In the meantime, it's worth noting that Miran's appointment is just one part of a larger trend of growing mainstream acceptance of cryptocurrencies.
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more institutional investors getting involved in the space, and governments around the world are starting to take crypto seriously. It's an exciting time for the industry, and we'll be here to cover all the latest developments.
Just a little while ago, we were discussing the increasing role of governments in regulating the crypto industry, and it seems like we have a major development on that front. Former U.S. President Trump has announced that Bo Hines will be leading his presidential crypto council.
That's right. Bo Hines took to Twitter to express his gratitude and excitement about working with the Trump administration. It will be interesting to see how this council shapes the future of crypto in the United States, especially given Trump's past comments about the industry.
Speaking of which, Trump hasn't exactly been the most supportive of crypto in the past. Do you think this move signals a change in his stance, or is this just a strategic play to appeal to a certain demographic?
It's hard to say for sure, but I think it's likely a combination of both. With the growing popularity of crypto, it's becoming increasingly difficult for politicians to ignore. By establishing a presidential crypto council, Trump may be trying to position himself as a leader in this space and attract voters who are passionate about the industry.
Building on what we discussed earlier about governments taking a more active role in regulating crypto, this move could be seen as a positive step towards more collaboration between policymakers and industry leaders. What are your thoughts on Bo Hines' potential impact on the council?
From what I've seen, Bo Hines seems to be a strong advocate for the crypto industry. His enthusiasm and knowledge could be a great asset to the council. Plus, he's expressed his excitement about working with David Sachs, which could lead to some interesting developments.
David Sachs is a well-known figure in the crypto space, and his involvement in the council could lend some credibility to the initiative. It will be interesting to see how this council interacts with other regulatory bodies and industry leaders to shape the future of crypto in the U.S.
Absolutely. As the crypto landscape continues to evolve, it's crucial that policymakers and industry leaders work together to create a supportive and regulatory environment that fosters innovation and growth.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this development and its potential implications for the industry. In the meantime, we'd love to hear from our listeners. What do you think about Trump's decision to establish a presidential crypto council, and how do you see it impacting the future of crypto?
Send us your thoughts on social media using the hashtag #HTSCryptoCouncil, and we'll discuss some of the most interesting responses in our next episode.
And as we near the end of our show, I want to revisit some of the exciting developments we discussed earlier in the world of crypto gaming. It's been quite the week, and it seems like Santa brought some early gifts for players and investors alike.
That's right. We saw a frenzy of token launches, with Ethereum leading the charge. Nifty Island's dollar for dollar and Nifty Island token went live despite a minor security issue earlier in the day. The team quickly resolved the problem and announced that the token is now ready for trading.
I love how the Nifty Island team handled the situation, ensuring the security of their users and being transparent about the issue. That kind of accountability is crucial in the crypto space. And it's clear that the community is excited about the Island token, given the enthusiasm on social media.
Absolutely. The world of crypto gaming is rapidly evolving, with new projects and tokens popping up left and right. It's an exciting time for gamers and investors, but it's also essential to stay vigilant and do your research before diving into any new project.
Speaking of research, we talked earlier about the importance of understanding the underlying technology and economics of these gaming tokens. It's not just about the hype or the potential for short-term gains. Investors need to think critically about the long-term prospects of these projects and whether they have the potential to create real value.
That's right, and as we look ahead to the new year, I think we can expect to see even more innovation and growth in the crypto gaming space. With the rise of platforms like Nifty Island and the increasing adoption of blockchain technology, the possibilities are endless.
So, what are some key takeaways from today's show? For one, the crypto gaming space is heating up, with new token launches and projects emerging all the time. Investors need to stay informed and do their research to avoid getting caught up in the hype.
Another key takeaway is the importance of security and accountability in the crypto space. Nifty Island's handling of their security issue is a great example of how teams should prioritize the safety of their users.
And finally, as we look ahead to the new year, I think we can expect to see continued growth and innovation in the crypto gaming space. With the right combination of technology, economics, and community engagement, the potential for these projects is vast.
Well, that's all for today's show. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, analysis, and insights from the world of crypto.
And don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all the latest developments in the crypto space. Until next time, stay informed, stay vigilant, and happy holidays. From our team to yours.